Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Overwatch All Stars Brawl 6 main bracket. We are in match 13, the first match of the day for the main bracket semifinals. I am Bramblebush, joined here by, Captain Jack. Captain, how are you doing today?
Actually not feeling so great, but my friend Dividing is feeling much worse than I am. So I'm filling in for him tonight. Hopefully he'll be feeling better here shortly. But hey, a chance to be able to cast the first winners semifinals match. I mean, I gotta unwrap the blanket and put the tea down for a second to get in on this action.
You don't get promoted up to the ranks of captain by just lounging around in bed, that's for
You're
sure.
right. You're right. Self care is important, though.
You know, if you need some self care, you should stop over at Andy's Daycare, one of the teams that we
Ooh,
have
good
in
point. Good point.
for today. Andy's Daycare going up against the Hog Mafia. Both of these teams
Mm.
have been putting on quite dominant performances to get up to this semifinals match. And they're both going to be looking to take the edge over one another and have that nice cushy coast into the main bracket finals, try and secure that early ticket to the grand finals, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
That's absolutely true. And I think the interesting thing about today is just the intensity that we're going to start seeing in these upcoming matches, right? We've kind of separated the wheat from the chaff at this point, so to speak. So we shouldn't be seeing a whole lot of like 3-0 matches. We shouldn't be seeing a lot of necessarily dominant performances should everything have worked out the way that it should be. We should be getting into those really exciting barn burner type matches today, but every team can have an off day. Hog Mafia could have forgotten their hook at home and find themselves in the losers bracket today, or Andy's Daycare may have been overrun with the seasonal flu and has to close down shop and head into the lower bracket as well. But only time will tell as to whether or not which of those two teams will find themselves there first.
Yeah, and you're talking about the not likely to see 3-0s. I got to agree there. Throughout the entirety of this main bracket, we've only seen 4 3-0s throughout everything. Every other
Mm,
match that we've been able to, have the pleasure of watching, it's been 3-1s. I think we have a 3-2 in there somewhere. So these teams are
okay.
definitely pretty on par with each other, I would say. Always able to put in those wonderful fights, wonderful controls, and just try to have everything that they can to show, hey, we're not teams, and I don't know what else to really expect out of that. These teams have just shown that they've put in the work that they deserve to be here, and so
Mhm.
it's going to come down to who wants it more.
Yeah, that really is what it's gonna come down to. I'll take a moment while we're getting into the match later on to kind of look and see the histories of these teams since I kind of stepped in last minute. But for the most part, each of them had to go through multiple, best of five series to get here. So it's really going to be based on who has had the harder run getting here. Not to say that dropping a map or two would make them a worse off team, but it kind of gives us a look at to maybe whose weaknesses could be better exploited in this matchup. Our first map of the day is going to be taking us to Volskaya Industries, which is odd, right? Usually the typical control is what we start off on, and they decided to change things up a little bit. So when your warm up is a map that you can draw on, that might not be the best show of force, so to speak. But it could give either team the edge that they need to kind of start propelling themselves forward and locking themselves into those winners finals bracket.
Oh yeah, the Volskaya industry is definitely going to be an interesting pace setter because if it's not a draw, it's typically feast or famine. You
Pretty
either
much.
get all the way through or you don't get through at all. And you know, talking about which of these teams could potentially have that bit of an off day, bit of a weakness coming. Andy's Daycare has only had to play one match throughout this main bracket. They defeated Shinkigami 3-1 to get up here, whereas Hog Mafia had to work their way up through the UCSC Slugs and then Cricks and neither of those were definitive victories, a 3-2 and a 3-1. So Andy's Daycare
Mm.
having a bit more of a, I'm not gonna call it a lax kind of approach to the series, but they are certainly a bit less taxed, I would say. Bit more fresh.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I'm taking a look at the scores right now. Like you said, Hog Mafia has definitely had a harder time getting up here. But if we remember, uh, Cryx, during this last open division, like they went pretty far. So for Hog Mafia to actually take that match 3-1, it's going to be interesting to see. Looking at compositions right now, it looks like both teams are opting for the metal dive, that ball diva composition that we've been seeing a lot during this tournament lately. Pretty much mirror compositions all the way through. Let's see who's going to lock it down first.
Yeah, Wrecking Ball really establishing himself in this new meta we've got going on as the teams begin their small engagement kind of outside the bunker. Here we go. Hog Mafia seem to be rotating around the left side from the attacker's point of view, trying to take that high ground, moving a bit as a unit, something you don't quite see often with these dive-heavy compositions. They tend to typically scatter around. Clear is doing a wonderful job of keeping some presence on them, putting a little bit of pressure. Big pile driver from Strider doesn't find any value, gets him hacked out by Zeus. A lot of damage coming in on him. Are they able to secure the elimination? They are. Hog Mafia
Mhm.
down early in this fight. So now they are down, having a little bit of a loss of momentum there, kind of rotating around. Infected, another big pile driver from him, hits 3. They eliminate Neutral and then Mocha. And then that's going to slow down that push, if not stopping it completely. You know, losing your supports, you're not going to be able to get far without them.
Yeah, Infected is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Probably one of the youngest Overwatch players at this level of competition. And as we know, the younger you are, that hand-eye coordination is definitely on par. So it's going to be interesting to see how Strider and the rest of the team decide to utilize their speed and mobility to match up against Infected and the rest of Andy's Daycare.
Yeah, another hack trying to come through, doesn't find it. Zeus having to get pulled back. Now Jelly Peanut gonna put a little bit of pressure on the point, pulling in the team. Zera getting brought dangerously low. Pulse bomb comes out from Wang Huzhong, doesn't find any eliminations. 4-man EMP comes
Ooh.
out from Zeus. God of Thunder has struck. Jelly Peanut gets taken down. So now being down a man, Hog Mafia gonna have a hard time pushing in. Big pile driver from Strider. There we go. The Transcendence coming out from Andy. A lot of healing, gonna keep his team in the fight. Another Transcendence going to be coming out from Neutral, but the minefield is going to get answered with Infected. So now they're going to have that narrow choke point to push through. They don't want to go through those mines. Strider does get out, get that mega health pack, a lot of healing coming up. No real point presence though from Hog Mafia, so they're just kind of rotating around trying to take a fight. They want to get that elimination before they can push in, so a small engagement happening over in the health pack. Oh no, the support
What?
line of Andy's Daycare get caught with that EMP. Andy himself getting dropped in the process. Human Lover is going to throw out that rally, give the remaining members some armor to try and push out. Clear self-destruct, zones out the point. Mocha's going to answer with his own rally. So
Oh,
now
come
Hog
on,
Mafia,
Neutral.
I don't think they've had any solid eliminations, except they are starting to come through now. Jelly Peanut and Mocha getting the work. The point tick has been captured about halfway there to getting the completion. It looks like they might be able to do it. Andy's Daycare seems to be backing up. Are they going to recontest? No, they are
Mm.
not. Point A is going to get captured.
I got to be honest with you right there. A little bit of off positioning there from Neutral. Neutral could have actually gotten 2 ticks much earlier in the fight, but was just sitting off of that objective just barely. I guess not to draw attention to themselves or whatnot, but the team was doing a great job of cleaning up. That's going to shave a lot more time off the bank that you could have utilized going into Objective Bravo. With 3:20 on the clock, though, it still gives them a decent time bank to be able to utilize going into this objective. And we got some ultimates online. Jelly Peanut getting ready to hopefully catch Zeus before they throw their EMP in.
Oh, they had a little bit of a Sombra fight, that mirror engagement, but Jelly Peanut does translocate out. Andy finding the snipe onto Mocha. That's pretty much going to stop that push. Yep, Neutral falls right
Mhm.
behind him, so Hog Mafia going to back up and regroup. Big pile driver coming out from Infected, and they hack out Strider. Lunacy gets taken out of the mech. Strider is going to try and run away. Does he get it? Taking those big strides, and he does get away.
Yeah, unfortunately, the positioning of the supports there on the side of Hog Mafia just left themselves incredibly vulnerable. You got to remember that Zenyatta has no fall off damage. So if that Zenyatta is able to click your head, if you have a Discord orb on you, you better be looking for where that Zenyatta is, because all it's going to take is a 1-2 buckle my shoe to the forehead and you are dead, done, and dusted. So now it's going to be up to Hog Mafia to see if they can retort this time around and maybe keep their supports alive.
Infected throwing the minefield up on that high ground, trying to discourage a push. Strider getting caught out and eliminated. That health bar just vanished. So a very minimal engagement from Andy's Daycare as they able to push Hog Mafia back. Zera eliminating Wang Yuzhong, and it's that time bank's taken away, Captain.
Yeah, there's really not a lot that they're able to do right now, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised that they're not moving over to something that I feel would maybe be a little bit more comfortable for them. You know, running a double shield or a brawl with a lot of CC is another composition that could easily counter this, as well as providing a lot of defense for them to utilize, and especially on a map like this.
Oh. EMP, self-destruct getting thrown out, a data bomb from Andy's, but no value found. However, the pulse bomb takes down Mocha, and now Jelly Peanut's going to answer back with a 2-man EMP. Andy unable to throw out that Transcendence. Infected, pile driving onto the point. Here comes the Transcendence from Andy. Zeus getting brought dangerously low, but he gets back into the healing. Lunacy gets eliminated, and now Hog Mafia's push is going to be stopped, but not before they got about 3/4 of the way to capturing.
Yeah, that at least gives them something to now work for, right? They don't have to necessarily worry about the fact that there's going to be an issue concerning having a win condition. But the goal is going to be to get that last tick. They're not going to have a lot of time on the bank, so if their defense ends up being rather crappy, they want to grab it with at least a couple seconds in the bank so that they can be able to put this thing into extra rounds.
So they use Mocha's rally to move in with some armor, but Hewn Lover answers back. However, Zeus falling gives Hog Mafia the man advantage. They're going to begin to try to push in a little bit more. Zera getting brought dangerously low. Strider's adaptive shielding giving him a lot of sustainability on the point. The self-destruct going in from Lunacy is going to clear out Infected's minefield. But it doesn't matter if you don't touch the point, boys.
Oh, my.
Oh, they're going to be regretting that.
I gotta grab my whiteboard already. What is it with like every match I cast? Like the very first thing is I gotta erase my whiteboard and say 0 days since the C9 in Overwatch. Like, come on, folks, come on.
That is exactly what I was about to say. Days since last C9.
0. Goodness gracious.
Has that ever gone above 2?
I mean, it depends. I mean, if you're looking specifically at just like contenders or OD, you know, they get the luck of the fact that as long as even if the last match had a C9 in the grand finals, then they still get a chance to bring it back during the time that they're not live. But in our case, you know, that's just the luck of the draw, unfortunately. But there was a lot of pressure coming out. I was a little bit surprised. Strider did an incredible job of clearing a majority of the mines before they ended up activating, so they had space to move. They could have been on the objective. I'm guessing that it was just a lack of communication as to who was supposed to be on the point, but unfortunately, you know, regret it or not, that's what happened. 79.6% on objective Bravo now, and it's going to be up for Andy's Daycare now to set the pace, and Hog Mafia to put the line in the sand.
Andy's Daycare, the doors have opened. Recess has begun. They begin moving out, trying to go in pretty quick. Infected already in the backline, splitting attention. The remainders of the team are going to rotate around and take that high ground again, just like Hog Mafia before them. So it's the question of who's going to get the first elimination, get that control first. Zeus trying to have a little bit of a cheeky engagement with Lunacy, but he falls back. A little bit of a diva fight on the point. Those double shotguns not really doing much when they're getting eaten up by that defense matrix. These teams are aching to find that opening pick, get that first blood. Just right now, they're taking it quite slow. Clear putting some damage into Jelly Peanut, but he does translocate out. Zeus gets the first hack onto Lunacy, and he gets demeched immediately. So that is going to put the momentum all in favor of Andy's Daycare. Point is already ticking up. Infected gets brought dangerously low, but he does get out. Zeus gets hacked out from Jelly Peanut. So now they are looking. 2 ticks almost taken already. Strider takes down Infected, but I mean, the point's just ticking up even further. Big pile driver coming out from Strider. Lunacy putting pressure on the point. They do get the elimination onto Hewn Lover. It seems like they're going to push back Andy's Daycare right here, but Andy's Daycare already setting a much faster time bank.
Yeah, that fish was interesting. It was very slow, very methodical from Andy's Daycare, but the response from Hog Mafia was, well, lackluster. They took about 30 seconds. The percentage on the objective started to climb. Thankfully, we did see Wang Yuzhong just be able to touch the objective for a moment, but that first pick is not going to do them justice here.
Speaking of Wang Yuzhong, gets picking down. Zeus throws out the EMP. Does not really find a lot of value with it. Clear getting hacked out. He slows down the minefield from Strider. And now the self-destruct being thrown out from Clear. He is going to get the DMAC onto Lunacy. The Transcendence coming out from neutral, but it doesn't block the burst damage. 3-man EMP coming out from Jelly Peanut. Hewn Lover looks like he has that rally online. They might be able to use that to try to recontest if they want, but they're going to take this L back up and regroup.
Jelly Peanut, you gotta be a little bit more aggressive with that EMP. Even if you're worried about possibly getting taken out, set up your translocator ahead of time. You don't have to jump in with the translocator. But the fact that Jelly Peanut kind of EMP'd from the point didn't grab a whole lot of value, even though it still pushed them back. They could have got a lot more staggers, could have got a lot more elims, and a lot more value out of that had they just been a little bit more centered to the enemy team.
Yeah, so they're going to have a pretty solid defense here. Andy's Daycare have both of their support ults online, and with Jelly Peanut down, they're going to pop both of those support ultimates, try and move in quite hard. Infected throwing down the minefield. They really want to take this point, zoning out everyone as hard as they can. There we go. Both of the support ults have worn off. Infected's minefield still has a presence on the point. Strider gets eliminated now, and that's going to be all that she wrote. Point A is going to go after a little bit of a cleanup here. Unlocked. There it is.
Yeah, now they got to get out of here because timing is incredibly pertinent. They do get that quick reset, but the composition that is moving in is just as fast, if not faster, to be able to set up on this objective as well. And, they at least were able to whittle it down to the same time bank, so we're not going to be seeing any real advantages from Andy's Daycare, except for that massive EMP.
Clear, eating the pulse bomb, taking down Wang Huzhong, then throwing up the self-destruct and getting another kill, putting in so much work right now. Lunacy self-destruct coming out, trying to zone out, but he loses his life, and that's basically a team kill. They're having to swap stall out now. Strider does have the minefield, they're going to put out a little bit of pressure. Wang Huzhong comes out with the Doomfist, gets hacked down immediately. The pulse bomb going on to Hog's Brig. Andy's Daycare is going to take round 1.
That is unfortunate right there. As I said before, Infected is an incredibly skilled player, and if you leave him unchecked, he will do amazing things. We saw right there at the end a full minefield coming in from Hog Mafia, but at the end of the, right afterwards, you see Infected coming in with the big slam and just eliminated all of Strider's minefield's value. Just wiped out pretty much all of them except for 2. And so they really need to. Yeah, they really need to start keeping Infected in check a lot more because they are kind of leading the charge right now when it comes to the eliminations, who the target focus is. I don't know if Infected is the IGL on the team, but nevertheless, they are being the playmakers, setting up those positionings that the team needs them to be in. So if you like Infected, that's actually one of the many people that are playing tonight that you can vote for down below in our MVP vote. We'll be bringing them in for an interview after the match is over. It can be, winners or losers side, doesn't really matter. Whoever you all vote as the MVP for tonight will be brought in. So be sure to be looking below the stream and getting your vote in so that it counts. But we're going to be waiting for the teams to decide where we're going to be heading next. Looking at the map pool right now, we can't do a map that we've already done, so we're not going to be seeing Assault for a little while. We could see Control, which is currently Nepal, Lijiang, and Oasis. Escort, which is Rialto and Watchpoint Gibraltar. And Hybrid, which is Eichenwald, Kings Row, and Blizzard World. So I'd say for a composition that is going on right now, if we want to see a little bit of brawl, we got to take it to the row. But I feel
Not
that
gonna happen.
I
King's
feel
Row
that
was just banned.
I was about to say, I have a feeling that Andy's Daycare is going to ban that sucker immediately.
Yeah. Ban that sucker immediately. They did. Andy's Daycare taking that, putting it up on the shelf, out of reach of the young children. Not gonna happen. Hog Mafia, I don't know. It looks like they are maybe. Oh no, I'm sorry. Clear. We're in the in-game chat. It is clear. It looks like they're gonna be banning Blizzard World instead. Or they're trying to, at least. I don't know if we have takebacks over here.
I mean,
Kings Row was
if,
chosen first.
I mean, even if they do that, they're almost leaving themselves at a disadvantage, and it's kind of a double-edged sword right now. I don't know if you've been watching a lot of contenders and Overwatch League folks, but the brawl on Kings Row has kind of been dying. I hate to say it, that brawl, that rush, the Rhine-centric compositions have kind of been falling even to these Wrecking Ball Diva comps just because of the ability for faster play. If the players themselves are skilled enough to be able to get through those narrow passageways, because that's kind of what holds up Wrecking Ball, is when you're trying to get through like narrow choke points or very rigid kind of cross sections in the map, especially if we're talking like Streets phase here on Kings Row. If you have a Wrecking Ball that is skilled enough to be able to kind of weave in and out of doorways, weave in and out of Streets phase, it's no issue to go to Kings Row. They actually might expect you to go to Kings Row just so that they can stomp on you. But needless to say, I don't know. The other two maps aren't better either, because Blizzard World and Eichenwald both have incredibly large areas to work through. The Streets phase has the high ground advantage that can be utilized for space to move around, and then Blizzard itself is just a very open map on low ground and high ground with a lot of different ways to attack and defend. So ideally, I would still say that Kings Row is the best bet if you want to run something that is not this Ball Diva composition, but that doesn't mean that you're safe from Andy's Daycare.
No, it does not, but we have the official ruling. There are not any takebacks on the map banned, so Kings Row is the map that is going to be banned from Andy's Daycare. Hog Mafia has elected to take us to Watchpoint Gibraltar for the next match, a pure escort map. Plenty of opportunities to see dive-heavy compositions. Winston Diva, double bubble. I've seen the double bubbles. That's what I got a little confused in my nomenclature there. I have seen things such as double bubbles coming out. The Winston Zarya getting not a lot of playtime, but a bit more than I have expected to be seeing a lot lately on maps like Gibraltar. And Andy's Daycare looks like they're going to be defending for this first push on Gibraltar. So interesting.
Yeah, I forgot the fact that they're allowed to ban a map. They don't necessarily have to pick from that map type. So that does change things up a little bit, but it doesn't really give the advantage to Hog Mafia that they were probably looking for. But I agree with what you're saying that Double Bubble has been kind of going to the wayside as of late because it requires a lot of communication and coordination, which not all teams, even at the tier 3 level, have down incredibly well. So unless you're doing an incredible job of making sure that you're communicating those dives, making sure that you're diving in when bubble is online, making sure that your supports are taken care of, And that's really difficult composition to be running. But based on what we've seen so far from Andy's Daycare, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them pull it out. The question is, what is Hog Mafia going to run to see if they can counter this? Or are they going to continue to try to go in this mirror matchup? And, so far they haven't been shown to be the clear victors of this composition.
No, not yet. So really gonna boil down to, I mean, what it looked like to me of Volskaya was it boils down to who was getting those first eliminations and then had the follow up on it. Because there were plenty of fights Hog Mafia had the first elimination, but they didn't have that follow up they needed. So as these doors open, it looks like they are gonna run a mirror kind of composition. Yeah, Wang Huzhong starting on that Symmetra, teleporting across the slower members, and then swapping over to the Tracer. So they're going to begin to push that payload forward with another mirror composition, but Jelly Peanut on the Ash instead of the Sombra. That's always a pick I am happy to see. I love me some good Ash play. She's an amazing sniper, an amazing mid-range combatant as well, so it's going to be an amazing show. Strider, you got a little too trigger happy there, rolling in, getting hacked out with no escape, and they're already going to be down a man on their attack, so a little bit of a small regroup here, but it looks like they're still kind of committed to the fight. Wang Huzhong going to keep pushing that payload forward, supports engaging onto Clear, kind of forcing him to retreat, kind of regroup with his team. Jelly Peanut trying to get up on that high ground, put in some damage with those dynamites and the Viper itself. Big explosion, doesn't really get any value though, no detonations. Small poke engagement, very slow. The members of Andy's Daycare kind of rotating around into the Mega Health Pack room. Another dynamite gets eaten by Clear. Pretty quick on that defense matrix. Clear has been so far tonight. And first blood of this engagement is going to go to Andy's Daycare. Andy and Clear finding those two picks. That's going to slow that push down. Lunacy pushes the cart just a little bit more and then gets out of dodge.
Yeah, there's really not a lot that you can do on that. And honestly, I'm a little surprised that Jelly Peanut is picking the Ash here. Just because, one, Ash got a little bit of a recent nerf in the most recent patch. So even though she can still do a heck of a ton of damage, it does not... it kind of throws off the rhythm, right? So it's definitely a hard hero to be able to utilize. Honestly, I would have been more invested had we seen maybe a McCree come out, start stunning some of these folks.
Man, we had an early pulse bomb there from Zera, eliminating, I believe it was Neutral. And then Hog Mafia did answer back. Strider managed to get an elimination onto Clear, I believe, but then they lost another member again in Wang Yuzhong. So that push didn't really happen, couldn't really get off the ground. They are going to re-engage here with Bob. Kind of lands right in front of the payload. Pulse Bomb and Minefield going to come out from Wang Huzhong and Infected respectively. Neutral throwing out the Transcendence, going to try and help clear out that Minefield. Anthi is going to answer back with his own. And Mocha's Rally going to come out, armoring up the members of Hog Mafia. Now it's Strider who's throwing down the minefield. Bob has left the building. Zeus just sitting cloaked on the payload, waiting for an opportunity to hit that EMP. Clear self-destruct going to come out, clear out a lot of Striders. Minefields, Lunacy is going to get demeched and then eliminated with Neutral falling before him. Hog Mafia not really having the ability to get their footing here.
I gotta ask, Hog Mafia scared tonight? Like, the attack just seems incredibly passive. Like, I'm not trying to throw shade or anything, because I'm just a console plat brain, right? But any type of aggression we're seeing is coming from Strider. And Strider alone, and it's not gonna help matters at all.
A double pulse bomb and then a pile driver squish coming out from Andy's Daycare. We're now in one fight territory.
This is rough right now. I really don't know what to say here, because at the end of the day, Andy's Daycare is just responding with a lot more aggression than we're seeing.
And here we go. Zeus's EMP only finds Mocha, and Lunacy's self-destruct does zone out, giving Strider time to touch the payload. So overtime has started, but Zera finds the early pick on the Wang Huzhong, and Infected's Minefield's going to stay on the cart. There's not going to be able to touch that at all. Yeah, I got to agree there, Captain. A very, very passive attack coming out from Hog Mafia. That's not the Roadhog way right there.
No, no, it is not. For anyone that is that does enjoy pulling out that piggy, you do not get to be passive on a Roadhog. So you would expect the Hog Mafia to be a little bit more aggressive with that kind of mascot. But needless to say, it's almost like they were trying to force Strider to set up the plays that we've been seeing coming from Infected, which is a good way to start off. But if you're also not kind of, investing the rest of the team in that, if you're waiting on one person to kind of make the right move, you're not playing a team-based game, you're playing a 1v6. Like, you're not going to get the value out of it that you're looking for here. And again, this is kind of why I said earlier, stop going with the mirror match. Come out with some CC. Come out with that. Come out with that cowboy and the Blizzard wizard. Make it so that it's more difficult for them to maneuver around you while you're able to protect a certain area, especially on a map that has a payload in it. That's going to work out incredibly well for you. But right now, it's looking really rough for Hog Mafia if something doesn't change.
Yeah, they're going to have to step it up. The only person that fell on their attack was Clear, the only death on the side of Andy's Daycare. So they're going to have to really amp up their defense here. Still sticking on that Ashe, which, I mean, I see what you were saying. She's definitely not the best pick for this kind of composition to go up against, but I don't see her as a bad pick. Her damage output is there. It's just a matter of, pulling the trigger on it. So now they are going to be falling back and setting up a bit of a defense at the top of the little dip down there. Strider gets hit with that Discord, but he's not going to let that stop him. He's trying to get in there, putting in a little bit of value. Big pile driver from Infected doesn't find Lunacy that he was looking for. So now another pile driver is going to come out from Strider. Also not really going to find anyone. The pile driver's not hitting their marks tonight. Not WWE, fellas. You don't need to make those hit every time. Payload is all ready.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a little bit about intimidation, but that first pick from Infected should go ahead and start evening things out.
Yeah, you're up a man. You're less than 3 meters away from that yellow rectangle of victory. Lunacy does eliminate Clear, and Human Lover's going to take down Neutral. So now it's getting pretty close. Zera finding a pulse bomb elimination. Strider getting hacked out as Lunacy gets demeched. Nope, that's going to be it. Andy's Daycare wiping the floor with Hog Mafia and already taking the series up to 2-0.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, Bramblebush, this is hard to watch. I don't know. I don't know if the issue is that they're just having an off night. I've known a lot of people that are kind of having an off day today. And as much as we'd like to think that they've had a challenging fight up to this point, maybe they haven't. Maybe those teams ended up taking it maybe a little bit easier on them, or maybe as we said, they just aren't wanting it as badly, and that's going to be an issue going into these later matchups that they're going to be having to fight their way out of. But all's not lost, all's not said and done. There is still the good old beep reverse sweep that could grab their broom, start pushing back Daycare in the upcoming maps. But wow, it's looking incredibly dire for Hog Mafia as they're essentially being served up on a silver platter by Andy's Daycare.
Yeah, there's pork is on the menu at Andy's Daycare for sure. They're gonna open up the pathway to the next and potentially final map with a ban on Blizzard World. So we're not gonna go back to a pure escort map. And now with 2 hybrid maps banned out already, that leaves, I believe, Numbani is what you said. If we go to Eichenwald. So if we go to a hybrid map, it's gonna be Eichenwald. So Hog Mafia, I mean, I don't know what maybe they're not comfortable on this sort of composition. or I mean, everyone just has off days.
Yeah, I
There's not
mean,
necessarily something that has to be wrong for things to be going wrong, unfortunately. And
yeah,
look at
and I
that,
mean,
they chose Eichenwald.
yeah. Well, they didn't have a lot of choice. Even if they won this next map on Control, they'd still have to go to Eichenwald eventually for the only hybrid map left. So. I guess the issue does come in, is Hog Mafia just not as confident in their ability to stop Andy's Daycare that they feel that they have to match them on the composition that they're playing? We've given several suggestions thus far of compositions that can shut down this ball diva comp. Anything that has a lot of CC and a lot of protection can make it very easy for them to work with. You pull out a rush with a cowboy and a May. Get a Symmetra in the mix if you're feeling frisky. Anything that can really slow them down as they try to dive in is going to make it so much easier for you to do your job. It doesn't matter how fast they're moving. All that matters is if you can stop them. But
Right.
Eichenwald is a great place for that. They can set up at this choke point, pretty much the only choke point that you can go through. The diva and various other characters that can get over kind of that middle point coming out of the attacker's spawn, which it looks like Hog Mafia are going to stay on the attack this time around, but with no like dedicated shield or anything like that, the choke isn't going to be something that is something that's really going to be protected by Andy's Daycare. Although it looks like they're opting for this Orisa Diva to start things off with, maybe at least for first point, just so that they have that little bit of protection at the choke, and then once Objective Alpha gets captured, if it gets captured, then they'll go ahead and probably swap back over to that Wrecking.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to win the team fights if you're Hog Mafia. You just need to shut down, or slow down, even as you've been saying, the tank line of Andy's Daycare, because those where the plays, if they haven't been happening, they've been starting, and they are looking to have a little. So very interesting, very unique and diverse damage output styles from Hog Mafia. Got the Lindholm Brigade in full swing, and they immediately swap it off. So now we've got Jelly Peanut onto the Hanzo. So a lot of burst damage potential, and then you've got the sustainable, consistent damage coming out from Wang Huzhong on the Cowboy. They're looking to really amp things up now.
Yeah, and that's the smart play right here too.
And they're stopped. Stopped cold. Zera already taking down Strider. You're down a man. You're down at this choke. Big Halt Orb there is going to slow down Jelly Peanut. Doesn't let them get the elimination on it. He does manage to get out. But look, the damage potential is there. They almost eliminated the support line of Andy's Daycare in a couple of seconds of that first fight. And they're trying to re-engage already. Lunacy pushing that corner around the pillar quite hard, forcing them back up. The shield from Infected does not last long. It's getting taken down very quickly. A lot of damage coming out still from Andy's Daycare. Zera gets taken down first. So Hog Mafia now going into a fight with a 1-2 man advantage. Jelly Peanut already throwing out the Dragon Strike, and then he takes down Andy. That is a great attack, a great push. Already the escort portion of Eichenwald going to be unlocked.
That was all right. All right. I'll give it to him right there. They pretty much had. So obviously, Andy's Daycare came in with the best composition for this, right? I mean, you could have included a Roadhog if you wanted to have an additional stun, but having the Cowboy Brig and Orisa is enough stun to be able to slow down a composition like this as you see them take down Strider again. But the fact of the matter is they were zipping around so fast, they couldn't keep it going, and now we're seeing them clear it out so that they can lock the payload right where it is.
Strider just throwing your face into a 6-man bunker composition is not going to work out, my guy. They do get slowed down.
There's not a lot that they can do right here, and already with Wang Yu getting picked off once again, that's not going to be a great place for them to start. Honestly, at this point, if they're gonna keep fighting that Orisa, like Strider has to get on that high ground. They got to start booping some people off so that they can kind of take advantage of those different positionings, because right now, they're playing a little bit of Star Wars right here. They got the high ground, and they're gonna keep locking it down.
No, Hog Mafia cannot afford to be losing any limbs. Infected gonna throw out the bongo. Wang Huzhong's pulse bomb, however, finds Human Lover, and the self-destruct actually finds value from Lunacy, taking out Infected. Clear, I believe, threw his self-destruct as well, and they eliminated him before he got back in mech. Andy throwing out the window, trying to have a little bit of pressure, get that little extra damage. It allows Zeus to get Mocha, but that's about it. So Andy might want that window back. Hope you had it on warranty, Andy, and the cart's going to keep moving.
Unfortunately, the warranty is you have to earn it back. That's unfortunate there, but it looks like they're going to swap over to the Zenyatta anyway, and Infected, as we said, going to swap over to that Wrecking Ball, going to find themselves in the back line as the Deadeye comes out from Zeus and gets no value in itself, looking for that quick reload, but still not finding picks with it.
Strider and Wang Huzhong getting brought dangerously low. Wang Huzhong does get taken down, and Infected's pile driver right onto a rallied up Mocha, not going to find any value. Pulse Bomb comes out from Zera, but the Transcendence happens quick enough to not let any value be found with it. Zeus get the flashbang kill onto Strider. Very interesting there. Andy getting that elimination on neutral. Zera, nobody's going to talk about that, buddy. Don't worry, nobody saw that.
And the blow up in the chat afterwards. How did that happen? Well, you see, gravity pulls you down. And that's how it works, even in the game. So, needless to say, gravity is a beast that will eliminate you every time it has a chance to. But, oops. Sneaky Strider. Oh, a clear thought.
Oh, they found him.
Too bad. That's too bad. Clear just turned around right as they were driving on in. It would have been perfect.
Alright, so now another slower engagement happening over by the bridge. Infected almost throwing himself over the edge, but he does get into the bottom hole into the Mega Health Pack room. Wang Huzhong also looks like he's trying to go for a back cap, but he gets caught into a Tracer duel. Andy taking down neutral, however, is going to give Andy's Daycare the man advantage. So Hog Mafia have to either win this decisively, and with Lunacy coming out of the mech, I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to push them back even further. They're leaving Lunacy out of the mech. Well, that's just cruel. There you go, throws himself over the edge. Gravity now going to work in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of chaos going on right now, and I'm not for certain what they're looking to do. I'm not for certain what the goal of their push is right now, because we're just seeing them kind of zipping around like chickens with their heads cut off. There's no clear target focus. There's no advantage, and that pulse bomb from Wang Yu not going to find the value for, just going to give more ult charge to the supports on the other side.
Oh, Infected and clear tank line of Andy's Daycare putting in a lot of work. Lunacy did manage to eat the pulse bomb coming out from Zera, and they almost backcapped the cart in the middle of that fight. Got under 2 minutes remaining, and they have to make something happen right here.
Yeah, Zero is going to have to stick to that cart like glue, and it looks like Clear is going to go ahead and back them up. They know that Jelly Peanut is hanging around there somewhere, and they're trying to zone out as much as they possibly can. Lunacy going to touch, though, and try to open it up.
Throws the self-destruct to zone out, but Zeus is there with the Deadeye. However, Strider's going to answer back with 2 with his minefield. A 3-man EMP coming out from Jelly Peanut. It's going to let a lot of damage just roll in. Look at that, neutral even came back onto the Lucio just to get everyone there, and it seems to have worked. They get the siege weapon in, the castle doors are going to come down, and we are entering Castle Eichenwald.
That is, wow. That was impressive, to say the least. It was not the expectation that I had on how that push was going to go, but was incredibly well timed there from Strider and Lunacy. Lunacy using the self-destruct to kind of open things up. making them think that that was the only thing that they had to worry about. But if they weren't tracking Strider, who's already halfway to another minefield, oof.
Oh, but he gets hacked out before the pile driver comes through. That's going to result in his elimination post-haste. And they're going to push back Hog Mafia once again. Jelly Peanut on the Torbjorn going to get taken down late in the fight. That's a stagger they don't want to happen. Wang Huzong, are they going to get that stagger as well? Looks like he has made it out. He does, in fact, do just that. So now, 30 seconds left. They got a pulse bomb. What can they do with it?
Well, the best thing that you can do is stick it on Andy. Try to waste out that Transcendence if at all possible, but you gotta watch out for Zira in your backline who has a pulse bomb of their own. Swapping over to this Torque is an interesting choice, but does give you a little bit of additional value here. Minefield gonna open up though.
Yeah, Strider went in for another pile driver, but he got hacked out of it, so now is overtime getting triggered? It does get triggered. Lunacy has to dive in, almost loses mech in the process, but now they're down 3 already. They need to stall out with no supports and half their DPS line missing. Lunacy goes down. Wang Huzong valiantly fighting, losing his life just outside the cart room. Strider coming out of the Dark Souls room, got that mega health pack, but you died.
Comes for us all.
Win condition
unfortunately.
Set.
Yeah, that was a rough one. I'm actually kind of surprised we didn't see them swap over to a shield composition for this. Again, when we're talking about tight corners and tight areas, you know, you definitely want to be opting into that brawl and that rush much more often. So I'm kind of surprised that they didn't swap over to that. You know, they had just used a majority of those ultimates. You know, bringing a Reinhardt into the mix or an Orisa would have gained a lot more sustainability on the cart, as well as just helping kind of zone out, as well as providing a little bit of protection. So now with that line drawn in the sand, it's going to be up to Hog Mafia to see if they can shut this down, because again, this is match point. There is no way that they are going to be able to turn this around after this. They have to be able to stop Andy's Daycare where they are right now. And if they don't do it, then, well, good luck in the lower bracket run, because you're going to see Andy's Daycare one way or another again.
And I mean, look what happens when they got aggressive, though. Look how they lost a lot of fights, but the ones that they won were quite decisive, quite clean, and they got that payload pushed in pretty far. So they're not down and out yet. They have what it takes to move in. They just need to work on, dare I say, not dying as often as they are. Well, 6 deaths apiece for Strider and the support line of Hogs Mafia.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about that, what we said earlier, coordination and communication. You know, the times that they popped off, they were communicating probably who was going where and how to take advantage of certain situations. The times that they weren't, they were getting rolled right on over. But Andy's Daycare has been shown to be incredibly consistent. So if they don't shut that down quick, if that communication doesn't start popping off in their favor, it's going to be incredibly rough for them to hold this together. Another goodness.
Hune Lover gets that first blood. Strider falls right after Jelly Peanut. The payload, just like Hog Mafia before, it looks like it's going to be unlocked at a blistering pace. Oh, Lunacy does knock Infected off of the map to answer for Mocha's death, but bought them a couple of seconds at best.
Yeah, just the cleanup was incredibly clear and concise there from Andy's Daycare. And as we move into the streets phase with 5 minutes on the clock, it is just going to be that much harder for Hog Mafia to try to lock this down. I would recommend swapping some stuff up. Jelly Peanut now on the McCree, or the Cowboy rather, going to go ahead and give a little bit of that extra stun ability for them to be able to utilize.
That's in Merriam-Webster and Oxford's right now. Stun ability it is. And look, the support line of Andy's Daycare falling early is going to let Hog Mafia push back and maintain a bit more of control over this payload.
I mean, Bramble, if we don't make up words as casters, are we even doing our job right? That's all I gotta say. Oh, look at, wow.
My idol Uber would absolutely say
there.
no. It was beautiful to watch right there. Tandem recalls. Jelly going down from Andy. That's not something you're wanting to see. Lunacy throwing in the self-destruct. Wang Huzhong's pulse bomb finds one, but Zero says anything you can do, I can do better. Answering back with two. The support line of Hog Mafia. I'm getting all sorts of mixed up here. They're just falling. That cart's going to keep moving. Andy's Daycare.
Let's go ahead and see what they have coming in here now. It doesn't look like we're going to be seeing any swaps in the near future. Strider does have that minefield online, but can easily be cleared either by Zeus's EMP or clear self-destruct. But those are going to be comboed.
Data bomb comes out. It finds Jelly Peanut. And now, Infected and Zeus getting even more eliminations. Strider is going to valiantly try to defend the cart, but he holds on to that minefield. Quite smart, if you ask me, because he knows that they're probably going to push that in and that he's going to need it for this next fight.
Well, I was going to see if they were going to have enough time to counter right there. Just barely able to touch. And the minefield, overlapping minefields. Goodness.
Yeah, and they swap to the Symmetra to teleport up into the window to get back faster, and it appears to have worked. It's at least pushed Andy's Daycare back, and Mocha's rally is going to come out. However, he's lost two teammates already, so now in a 4v6, that armor is going to be instrumental in putting any value in, and then they're going to lose it, because Zero's just going to say no to it. They still have that teleporter up in the window, though, so they're getting back rather quickly. Clear flying up, trying to contend with it. Wang Huzhong finding one with Pulse Bomb, fighting back quite hard. Barely manages to recall out from under the pile driver, and he's just holding on, but he falls. Look at that, though. Strider is now over onto the Reinhardt. Is he going to stay on it? I hope so. It's probably the only thing that they're going to have to stop that cart from hitting the yellow rectangle of victory.
I mean, at this point, they've pretty much exhausted the help that Reinhardt would have given their that sustainability during that phase. Seeing the Orisa, though, is going to help out, again, providing another stun, another control on this speedy composition.
And they're trying to bunker up. They do force Zero's Pulse Bomb out, and they deny it with Neutral's Immortality Field. So now they're pushing up pretty hard. Clear, throwing in the self-destruct. Six-man Data Bomb finds three with the explosion. They are going to follow up with Andy's Transcendence and Hewn Lover's Rally. And that's it. They push it in. A clean sweep 3-0 for Andy's Daycare.
Goodness, that is rough. That is rough right there. And I kind of feel bad for Hog Mafia, right? It seems like that one particular match, or this one particular match, just seems to be kind of an off day based on the streak that we've seen them have thus far. Like, just every play seemed off. You know, there were a couple times, like you said, that they were on. Like, they knew who their target was. They focused them. You know, they got the picks that they needed to. But then at the end of the day, they just didn't have it as consistently as we've seen from Andy's Daycare. And as we've talked about, a lot of the players that are on this team, you know, these are, you know, top OD and, you know, kind of contenders trials level players that we've seen in North America. So it's going to be rough, whoever's going to be going up against them next, for sure, to see who is going to be the top dog in the winners bracket. But Andy's Daycare will go ahead and move on to that next phase in the bracket, getting ready to face off against either Gaia Hyperion or Regen in the winners finals. And then I believe Hog Mafia will be moving down to, I can't see it here on the Liquipedia page, but I imagine that it's going to be the losers round 4 matchup between either Bay State or UCSC. So we'll see how that all works out in the end.
Yeah, certainly they're going to have their work cut out for them trying to force their way back up into the main bracket grand finals. But just a dominant performance on display from Andy's Daycare, though. The synergy between Zeus and Clear, you know, those data bombs in very well coordination, throwing out the self-destruct, answering it with the EMP, wiping out teams. Hewn Lover and Andy, just, I don't think I've seen such incredible synergy between two support players before.
Yeah.
The the appeal that they had for each other. They didn't even wait for their DPS or tank line to turn back whenever they came under attack. They just took care of it themselves and then got back into the fight.
Yep. And that kind of synergy between supports is definitely what teams need when facing off against dominant teams, especially when you have the compositions that require that Zenyatta Brig. It doesn't pump out a lot of healing stuns from the Brig, but it also allows the team to just constantly on the field are going to be that Brig and Zenyatta, but that's what Brig's there for, is to make sure that Zenyatta stays safe. And if both of them focus the same target at the same time, we saw this with a match I casted earlier this week, where we talked about, if you're only sending one person in on the supports and there's two of them,
you're not getting that person back.
I have to tell you what math is, but even if you're a tank, like, that's not going to work out for you.
You're not getting that person back.
Yeah, you're just not going to be able to get them. So as we go ahead and wait for our MVP to be decided by you all, I do want to remind you all that if you are here supporting the amazing work that's done here at Star Esports, be sure to hit that heart, punch that bell, so you get notified every time we're online. You can also hit that sub button. It is a September after all, so 20% off means $3.99 for a Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime sub. We'll give you access to some amazing emotes as well as support this incredible community. And it looks like our interviewee is here.
Sorry,
Hello?
I just really wanted to hit that transition. Speaking
Go
of
ahead.
support, we have Brigitte, Hune lover themselves. Hune, congratulations on your victory. How do you feel right now?
Feeling pretty good. It was a good hustle from us.
I mean, I'll say that was a very dominant 3-0 performance. I don't think I saw Hog Mafia. I mean, what do we say, Cap? They got their footing, 2-3 times throughout the entirety of the series.
Yeah, it was definitely
down.
It was definitely a rough road for them for sure. But I mean, talking about the composition that y'all are running, it's something that we've been seeing a lot more in kind of the path to pro circuit. Is that kind of where y'all are getting your compositions and data from? Is that where your coach is pulling from? Because it seems like y'all are executing it rather beautifully.
Yeah, we've been practicing a lot of the Balls and Brig comps, mostly. It's probably like the best comp right now, so we're just trying to get really good at it, because if you can like enable your backline to carry, then it's like super easy to win. And Andy's great on Zen, and I'm good on Brig, so like enabling us to let us do our thing,
Yeah,
we were discussing before you were brought in that the support line that you two were bringing to the table for Andy's Daycare, there was no peel from the DPS and tanks because it wasn't needed. Anytime anybody tried to dive in on you, the two of you just took care of it yourselves. You're like, all right, cleanup's done, back to the fight.
Yeah. In that match, our Ball and Tracer were doing a good job of zoning out their Ball and not letting him do what he wants. So it makes it a lot easier for our backline to survive and live these engages. It was a good match, though. Good to play against one of my good friends on the enemy team, Neutral. That's my homie Eugene. We go way back.
Well, that is amazing, and I guess that does give you a little bit of an edge there as well when you know how someone on the other team plays. So looking forward to the match you have upcoming. It's going to be between either Gaia Hyperion or Regen North America. Is there are you worried about either of those teams? We're definitely getting to the wire as to kind of who the top dogs are here in the All-Star Brawl. Is your team worried at all about the resistance they may face by either of these teams?
I think going forward, if we continue to improve, we should be able to face any opponent ahead of us.
All right. Well, I don't have any other questions. Bramble, do you have any questions before we go ahead and let Hune go back to the team to celebrate?
Just the same question I try to end all these interviews with. Do you think Andy's Daycare is going to take the whole series?
I think we got a shot at it. Like I said, if we continue to improve at the rate that we are, I think we can take the first place spot. Thank you guys for interviewing me. One last shout out to my dog Neutral. Eugene, you're my boy. We used to run up the block together. Love you, dog.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Yoon. We appreciate you being here. We're gonna send you back to the rest of the team. And for you at home, just know that this isn't the last that you will be seeing of Star Esports today. Oh, no, no, no. We actually have that second winners semifinals match coming up here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, about an hour from now. So we are going to go ahead and sign off for now, but be sure to tune back in, because needless to say, that match is going to be incredibly interesting to watch. Based on the composition that we've seen coming out from Andy's Daycare, how is that going to match up against what we've seen so far in this tournament between Gaia and Regen?
Follow button. Remember to vote for your MVPs in that match. Subscribe if you can. If not, just watching. We appreciate each and every one of you. For this matchup, I have been Bramblebush, joined here by AO Captain Jack. Thank you for watching. We will see you on the next one.